Hello, everybody. Welcome back over here. Let's continue our series of Bitcoin basics explanation and more education on what is Bitcoin. This is basically this series of videos I'm making over here. If you go on the channel, you go on playlist, you see why Bitcoin. This first video over here, part one. And this is you see Bitcoin explained. So you're gonna see
Hello, everybody. Welcome
all
back.
the video that I made up on this playlist that basically talk about you see the Bitcoin why Bitcoin the first over there which talk about the white paper. Let me go down. This is why Bitcoin. This talk about basically approximately the same thing, but this is the first one I
What's
made
up, everybody?
about
Welcome
Bitcoin
back.
white paper. So this basically explain like from the beginning of the white paper basically and go down to explain everything. So this is kind of a big video series I'm making for new users of Bitcoin who really want to understand what the technology and the power of this technology. So and the innovation behind this technology. So if you kind of interested in those type of things, you can go on this playlist, basically Bitcoin education, on this channel, and you will find this video over there. So if you don't wanna, I just don't wanna mix them up with all the other videos I'm publishing over there on this channel, right? So let's go. So the last time we was talking about the first video was about the Bitcoin white paper. We went down to basically why the Bitcoin white paper because most of the time people don't really they hear about the white paper, they don't really take time to read it, and because they feel like it's kind of so complicated and people are kind of afraid to approach the white paper, and they just kind of offload this responsibility to somebody else, like or just say like outsource that to some expert in the crypto space. Um, and they just don't mind reading it. And when you really look at the white paper, it's not that complicated for somebody to really understand and see the purpose and the reason behind it. So, this paper was published in 2008, right? This was basically um, in a time where you had like financial crisis, right? Um, and there was bailing out banks, and so he came out with this white paper, right, which gave birth to Bitcoin, right. So I think it was on October 31st, 2008, right. So yeah, and you see basically talk about the peer-to-peer version of electronic cash, right. And most people look at this and they say, well, Bitcoin was supposed to be peer-to-peer cash. It's not like saving. Basically, you don't have to hold it, just cash, just send cash all over the places, and that's it. But yes, it is peer-to-peer cash, right? I mean, you could use it for Lightning transaction, open a Lightning. I don't wanna go too deep into this. I don't wanna go too fast. I wanna take my time to explain really what this thing is about. So I don't wanna just overblown you with informations. But just trust me. I'm just gonna go step by step by step, so you understand what's going on here. So basically, Satoshi talk about peer-to-peer cash, right? And now most people are using it for so many other reasons, right? Like you have so many technologies out there. You could use it for whatever you people use them for whatever they want. Maybe it does maybe the creator of the technology may not decided to invent it to for this reason, but other people use it for the other reason, right? So gold is was invented like gold was has always been there on the ground, right? When humans decide to monetize it and call it money, it could be just just a rock on the ground, but at the time, from that time, humans call it money. It become money, and some people in the other side of the planet call it jewelry. It becomes jewelry, right? For some, and some may decide to even eat it and use it to put it into phone, into cell phone. That's what it is for them. So just because something is stated, oh, this is going to do this, that doesn't really mean it's the only purpose. Bitcoin is many solution for many problems. So that's why we cannot just say, okay, oh, this thing is just for money. This thing is just for transaction. This thing is just for, it's for all of them, right? That's the purpose here. Now, let me get down to the white paper. So I already read it in the first video. I went down all over there. So, but I want to go on over it again, just to reiterate this, right? So he go down to say a longest chain. Um, he was talking about the peer-to-peer network, right? The network timestamps transaction by hashing them into an ongoing chain of hash-based proof of work, forming a record that cannot be changed without redoing the proof of work. Okay, now you hear proof of work, right? The term proof of work. Okay, this is the essence of Bitcoin. Full stop. The proof of work is why Bitcoin is Bitcoin. There's no Bitcoin without proof of work. So, what is proof of work? Basically, it's just just like the word say, proof of work. So you have to put energy, put work. Work is like energy. Basically, you have to move something. Uh, it's the push, the force, right, multiplied by the distance. You move something, right? Now you could use that in the physical world. You could use that with your mind. Just write down numbers and do calculation, math calculation. And you could just make a computer do that for you. In that case, Bitcoin use SHA-256 computers, specifically built computers for SHA-256 to hash the power, right? So now, and I went down in the first video. I went down to all the over there. Let me show you where I was showing you guys the blockchain, right? I was showing you all these the basically the peers, right? How the blockchain works and the nodes. I uh, I showed you basically uh, the node over there, right? So this is the node that's running, that's verifying transactions on the Bitcoin network, right? So and the node basically, I'll show you that. This is just the interface on the computer. You can visualize it. But the node is physical. It's like a small device. It looks like that, right? You connect it to your um, you know Ethernet internet connection, Ethernet cable, and then there's this is a hard disk in the bottom, and then this is a Raspberry Pi sitting on top, and then you have some a memory card inside it, and that's it. There's the node is verifying transaction, and you know securing the network. Now let's go back to the white paper. Okay, like I said, guys, I want to take my time to just go step by step. So now we were talking about the proof of work, right? The proof of work is basically it's a separate system because yes, the same thing, but the proof of work is the miners that do the proof of work. Now we were talking about the energy and the work, right? Basically, the work has to be done by the computers. So when the computers do the work, basically, and I'll show you. Um, that's a node that's verifying, that's like ensuring nobody cheat, right? So that's a node, and you have the computers, um, you know, mining. That's they're not really mining; they call it mining, but it's more like securing the network, right? They're all competing, to each other. At the same time, they are securing the network, right? Making sure nobody steal. And the node are reinforcing the walls. That's why we say Bitcoin is walls without rulers. Okay, so um, this again, this computer is just securing everybody's money, right? So and there's a difficulty. No, okay, I'll talk about this later. Okay, so um, now back to the white paper. We have it talks. It say the longest chain not only serves as proof of sequence of event witnessed, but proof that it came from the largest pool of CPU power. Now, here's the thing: the proof of work, right? If you show proof of work, you most likely be honest. You basically, if you spend a lot of energy, a lot of time, and power to, let's say, build a house, right? So it's your energy and your power you spend, right? So it's really hard for you to go and break this house and just you have to spend like another money to just tear this house down right after you build it, right? So if it is your house, right, if you can show proof that you really spend energy and money and power work to build it, it should be yours. There's no question. This is the same thing for the proof of work. So what Satoshi did basically is say, in order for you to say this is yours, you have to show the proof of work. You have to work for it basically. So this is what proof of work is, which is really different than the system we currently have, which is a proof of stake system. Fiat is proof of stake, which is basically say if you have this amount of money or this amount of wealth or assets. Let's say you have houses and stocks and all the other things, and you go to the bank, you say, "This is what I have," and they say, "Oh, this is how you have a lot of stake in the system," and then the bank will say, "Okay, hey, you are allowed to have this amount of money as a debt, as a loan." Now, the bank doesn't have the money themselves; they create it out of thin air. So, in the pool of money everybody else is using, to give it to that guy who had stake in the system. So this is how proof of stake works. But in Bitcoin, you have to show proof of work. In order for you to get the Bitcoin, to get the money in the system, you have to work for it. Now, before I start this video, I had a miner running in the basement. So I had to turn it off so because it's making so much noise. I had to turn it off to do that video. So you guys don't have to hear that in the background. But this is how I use my miner. This is how I heat up. I warm my the basement or downstairs in the cold time when it's cold. So this you have to show proof of work in Bitcoin in order to get the Bitcoin. That's why most people like it. A lot of people hate it because they're like people busy more like people who who are benefiting in the fiat system, they don't like it. So I can see why most people say it's, say all this bad thing about it. That's why we don't care. Now, uh, Satoshi said the longest chain, win. It speaks for itself, right? So, uh, proof that it came from the largest pool of CPU power, right? So basically, the longest chain win, right? Say the longest chain is the proof, right? Because let's say attackers come in the Bitcoin network and they want to make a 51% attack, right? So they would have to be the winner, right? They would have to be the longest chain, right? And by this time, they will have to hold all the computers, most computers on the network, right? They will have to own most of the, like more than 51% of the computers. At that time, they will already have all the stake. It's not really stake, but they will all have so much things, so much to lose in the system. Just like I was talking about the house, you already build all the whole house, right? It's already there, right? So in order to tear this down, you will be losing so much of your money, right? So you don't have that incentives to tear it down. So that's the other game theory of Bitcoin. So let's 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 go down, um, and then every time you have those computers, any computer worth each of those computers can win. Any of those computers here over there, each of them can win the puzzle. Okay, the math problem. Every 10 minutes, one of them win in average. So if one of them win, and then they broadcast that information, and they pull all the transaction right together. This is the mempool over here. So this is, for example, this basically this pool, this mining pool, win the last block, right? In the past couple of minutes, they win the last block, and then they just take it and they broadcast it to the you know network, to the nodes. Basically, the nodes record it, and then they say, hey, this is who on what, this is what happened, and this is the block, right? They give you all the information about the block. This is all the transactions that happen, and here, those are the transactions, right? You go down, you see all the transactions happen, and then who win this block? This is Foundry USA, okay? And the previous one was Endpool, and the one before that was Binance Pool, and the one before that, you see, all those ones go all the way down, all the way till 2009, January 3rd, 2009, when it first started. And every 10 minutes in average, you have that. So this is basically the Bitcoin sequence. When Satoshi talk about um, you have the sequence of events witnessed, right? Over there. So sequence of events witnessed, right? Okay, let's leave this for a second. Let's go down, and it's accepting the longest proof of work chain as proof of what happened while they were gone. So basically, if you have a node, right, uh, a node can leave and rejoin the network, right? So you don't have to be keep your node all the time on the net. You can leave. You can just close it for a moment and then come back. And then when you come back, you will see you will just take the longest chain, right? So as proof, uh, because as you already know, the longest chain is the truth. So commerce on the internet has come to rely almost exclusively on financial institutions serving as trusted third parties to process electronic payments. Okay, this is the problem Bitcoin faces again. Fixes also. You have, for example, now you have Terra Luna collapse. You have FTX go down. A lot of people lose money. My Gox, um, a lot of people lose money on exchanges. They left our money there. You have Bitfinex. A lot of people lose money. You see, all those things happen while Bitcoin was created to solve this problem, like specifically for that, to just remove trust, like in between us. It's just from node to node. From you on your own node, you have your own keys. Nobody has control over that. That's the fundamental um, breakthrough Bitcoin. That it's like no counterparty risk, but you still have people buying grayscale GBDCs, and they call it Bitcoin just because they got it at some weird discount, something crazy. So okay, so like this is those are the problem Bitcoin fixes. The cost of mediation increases transaction costs. Yes, limiting the minimum practice transaction size and cutting off the possibility for small closure transactions, and there is a broader cost in the loss of ability to make non-reversible payment for non-reversible services. If you have a website, you're selling some product, and then you sell this to the customer, the customer decide to return it to you after 3 months, and this transaction is still reversible. They will reverse it on you anytime they want. So this is the problem there. On Bitcoin, you don't have that. If the service is irreversible, why would you have to reverse the transaction, right? So with the possibility of server reversal, the need for trust spread, because everybody's using Mastercard and Visa. We have this problem where we need this kind of trust on the internet, right? You have to get somebody to trust, right? But in the physical world, if I have a cash, I can just send it to somebody and they just give me the service or give me the product. But in the digital world, what do we have other than Bitcoin, right? So you have to remove that trust, and to remove that trust, you need um, a trustless system backed by reinforcing reinforcing the rules, and computers that securing the network, right? Instead of trust in humans. And in the first video, I talk about basically um, also the blockchain, and which is more like the time chain and the transaction, the ledger. Again, this is a ledger over here. I'll show you the peers, um, how the blockchain works. If you change one thing in one hash or one block, everything else changes. Okay, and then you see the verification and everything over here. So okay, so and then you have a timestamp server. Right now, you can timestamp your publishment online. If you have a website and you publish something, you could just anchor it to the blockchain, right? You can just anchor it to this blockchain and say, oh, this thing happened here at this time, right? And then you just take it, you just copy the link, right? And then you say, okay, this is the block at this time, this happened, right? Nobody can change the history of this block. It's always there. It's always gonna be there forever, as long as Bitcoin exists. So this is a timestamp server. Um, this is why we call that the time chain instead of the blockchain. Blockchain is more like a buzzword for crypto scammers to steal your money. Okay. You have proof of work. They implement a distributed timestamp server on a peer-to-peer basis. This is another problem Bitcoin solve, right? The timestamp server, right? So, and for that, Satoshi used Adam Back's Hashcash, right? So, so you, this was designed basically to ask somebody to do some work in order before they can um, send you an email, or maybe before they can reply to your tweet, before they can like your tweet or do something, right? They have to spend some money or do some work, spend some energy before so. So this is why the Charter 56 is there, so that this is what all the computers are doing. They are expend energy and work before they get the reward, right? So, and on that, the proof of work also solved the problem of determining representation in majority decision making, right? So if the majority were based on one IP address, one vote, it could be subverted by anyone able to allocate many IPs. Uh, Proof of work is essentially one CPU, one vote. This is what I like about Bitcoin too, because it's not a democracy. It's one CPU, one vote. It's not like the majority win, just like election and a democracy followed system. It's more like you you are the you self-sovereign individual, right? You run your own node. It's your it's your you in against the world. It doesn't matter whatever everyone says. You run your own node. There's another upgrade or something or another nonsense they want to push to the network. It's none of your business as long as you don't run that on your node, right? Nobody can tell you what Bitcoin is. You decide what Bitcoin is for yourself. So it's self sovereignty. You protect yourself from this mass stupidity. The mass is stupidity. You isolate yourself from them. So yes, okay. Now you have the network. New transaction are broadcast to all nodes. Right? It should not gonna collect a new transaction into a block. Okay, the node, and then when the Bitcoin miners, when they find a block each 10 minutes, they broadcast that to the nodes. They tell the nodes who on what happened, right? On the blockchain, right? For example, on this block, they show you how everything what happened, right? So this address sent to this address, and this address sent to that address, and then each node works on finding a difficult proof of work for its block, right? So, and then when a node finds a proof of work, it broadcasts the block to all nodes. Yeah, nodes accept the block only if all transactions in it are valid and not already spent. Right? So they have to act only if it's valid. Right? You can't double spend Bitcoin, right? Because of the proof of work and all the nodes that reinforcing the code, right? If you cheat, you'll get rejected on the network, and no other nodes will accept your Bitcoin. Nodes express their acceptance of the block by working on creating the next block in the chain, right? Using the hash of the accepted block as the previous hash, right? So just like that, you have you use the hash of the accepting block as the previous hash. So you have this over there. I'll show you guys. You have this. You have this. You have this. This is a transaction, right? You have this. The of private owner first private key. You have this over here on the first signature, right? This has to get reported over here, right? And then the second one, right, has to be reported over there, right? So, and this is how you make a chain, and this will be reported on the fourth, right? Become a chain. So, so this is basically that, and then yeah, nodes always consider the longest chain to be the correct one, and we'll keep working on extending it, right? So just like this node over here, just like this node is doing, right? Just sitting on the somewhere, and then it's just processing transactions and telling what's happening, right? So okay, so let's go down a little bit more. I wanted this to be a little bit. I'm gonna talk about wallets like later, and this white paper is so intense. I feel like I have to go over it quite a bit, over and over and over again, because so we can really get it. And sometimes when you try to explain something, but trying to explaining it, I'm learning as well as you guys are learning from me. So by incentives, okay, there are incentives in the Bitcoin network, right? Um, by convention, the first transaction is a block in a block is a special transaction that starts a new coin owned by the creator of the block, right? So this adds an incentive for nodes to support the network, right? So and provides a way to initially distribute coins into circulations. Since there is no central authority to issue them, the steady addition for constant of amount of new coin is analogous to gold miners expending resources to add gold to circulation. Okay, so now he's talking about block reward, like when you have the first, the Bitcoin, the first Bitcoin transaction, um, the miners receive, the fees, right? They are incentivized to mine and secure the network, right? So in after a long period of time, you have like all Bitcoin. When all Bitcoin are mined, the miners um, will be compensated with transaction fees, right? And yes, there's gonna be enough to compensate the miners because then Bitcoin network will have a lot of demand, and they will have it's gonna be a lot. There's gonna be a lot of activities on the network. So yes, there's gonna be enough to compensate the miners to do so. Reclaiming disk space, you have disk space. This talk about um, the transactions, including blocks and the block hash. All block can then be compact by sobbing off branches of the tree. This is all of that. Um, those are a little bit steeper, but it's still interesting. Simplified payment verification. You can verify the payment, go on the blockchain, and just visualize what happened. Right? Just see, click on this transaction, this guy, see this is that, and this is what happened there. Right? So amazing. And more cobalt, mercury. I won't talk about this right now because it's not like that important for you guys to know, but it's still interesting if you want to check it out. Combining and splitting value, you have transaction. It should be noted that find out where a transaction depends on several transactions and those transactions depend on many more is not a problem here. There is never the need to extract a complete standalone copy of transaction history. So you can have a Bitcoin wallet and you can have many other uh, people can send you Bitcoin in one address, right? For as long as they want. So there's no problem on how many times somebody can send you a transaction, and there's no problem on how many transactions you can send out. So it's all unlimited. You have there's a privacy. So this is basically talk about it's better good privacy practice to just use one address once and then just use it once. Don't have to use it again. Addresses that are on chain, right? Um, Good practices. Um, and then you have calculation, and you have the. I'm gonna go deeper on the next video about the reason why you cannot forge the 21 million of Bitcoin cap. So, uh, and which is really tied with time, right? So, I want to go deeper on that in the next video. Those are the equation, the mathematical equation, but this is more in code. This is in C code for you guys who know about C programming, and this is just basically the math, right? This is just the math, and they just convert it into C programming, which is really have the limit of the 21 million, approximately 21 million. Now, there's nowhere in the code that says, oh, this is 21, oh, it has 21 million coin there. It's not like coin. A Bitcoin doesn't exist. It's more like the Satoshis. The code knows. The code doesn't know Bitcoin. It just knows Satoshi. Satoshi is the real unit. Um, so yeah. Anyways, and you have those all the citation. Now let's go talk. Let's go see the innovation here. Okay, innovation in payment system. Bitcoin isn't just about sending money. It has many features and opens many possibilities that the community is still exploring. There's so many things that we don't even know, we don't even explore yet about this Bitcoin breakthrough. You have central control against fraud, right? Prevent fraud like FTX, like a bunch of you know centralized exchanges and counterparty risk, right? Global accessibility. It's global. It's accessible. You can buy it anywhere. You can use it anywhere. Cost efficiency. It removes. You don't have to have men with guns to secure the network for you. The money can be self-sustained, and even if 0.5% of the computers on the network drop out, you still have a Bitcoin network works. We saw that when China decided to ban Bitcoin mining. Um, Tips and donation. And donation, you have like I can accept uh, payment on my channel, right? You have like I'll be I can just you could just go there and you wanna tape my you know podcast, you love this, and you just go there and click. It'll send you directly to the link where you can just tape me. You wanna tape me 100 sats, you can there and you generate this is your invoice. You just send me some sats on the Lightning Network. So these are all those things, right? You could use also taping.me as well, right? So so amazing. So and you can use the Lightning invoice and all those things. So this is the power of Bitcoin. Now I could also put a Bitcoin address on chain. You can send it to that too. But for to protect your privacy and mine, I just use Lightning Network. Um, but people say, okay, well, why shouldn't you be able to use Bitcoin like on-chain address? Here's the thing. When I use Lightning, if I really want to put it in cold storage, really secure place, I'm gonna send it to a cold storage wallet, right? So that's the thing here. So if you wanna have like long term, um, wealth, you wanna put in cold storage. But if you wanna have fast transaction, quick payment for a cup of coffee, you can use it for taping and all those things, right? You could use on the Lightning Network, right? Yeah, and it's good for crowdfunding. Yeah, some of you guys know like Tally Coin, right? You have a micropayment, right? So on Twitter, you like somebody's tweet, you could just tape them. Just like on this on YouTube, you wanna send me one sat, you can send it to me, right? So and dispute mediation and the blockchain, it's everything is public. You can go verify yourself. Multi-signature accounts, right? So you have multi-signature, so you can have multi-sig. You have one key. Somebody else has one key, and let's say you are a corporation, right? You could just manage the funds like that. Trust and integrity. There's trust on the blockchain, right? Yeah. So Bitcoin can be used as a ground to store trust and agreement, right? As you know, like there's a lack of trust in institutions. Right? Bitcoin can reinstall this trust between us, resilience and decentralization. Right? It's decentralized, um, flexibility, transparency, flexible transparency, and you have automated solutions. Right? So automated services usually have to deal with costs and limitation of cash, credit card payments, and all those things. These are all the solutions Bitcoin brings, and so many more. And each of them are big. It may sound like small, but each of them are very big solutions. Um, Now, if you want to exchange, if you want to buy Bitcoin, right? You want to get Bitcoin. There's so many exchanges. Some of them are decent. Some of them are better than others. You have to be careful not to leave your coin there. If you leave them in whatever the exchange is, you're playing with fire. That's why you use a cold storage wallet. If you have a huge amount of Bitcoin, you better off send it to a wallet that you hold yourself in your hand. Um, you could use a Blue Wallet if you have a couple hundred, right? If you have a few thousand like sats, yeah, it's fine. You can use a Lightning Wallet to buy a few stuff if you traveling stuff like that. But if you're planning on saving for long term, well, you better use a hardware wallet. They are Treasure, they are Cold Card, which is more like it's a little bit like more difficult, but you will get there. So you could use also Blue Wallet on your phone. It's better than leaving it on exchanges where they can re-hypothecate it and steal it from you. Okay. Yes, we talk about and also you could go on this Bitcoin.org and you find your wallet you want. Just go step by step and look for that. You say, okay, this is which app you want, which operating system you're using, and they will direct you to the wallet you want. And Bitcoin Core, basically, Bitcoin Core is basically what is inside your node, the code implemented inside your node. Bitcoin Core is programmed to decide which blockchain contains valid transactions. The user of Bitcoin Core only accepts transactions for that blockchain, making it the Bitcoin blockchain that everyone else wants to use. For the latest developments related to Bitcoin Core, be sure to visit the project official website. Okay. Decentralized, you have decentralization, no vote. There is no voting or other corruptible process involved. Okay, so there's no voting in Bitcoin. Um, there's just individual software following individual rules. Okay, so you have individual software following individual rules. There's no like nobody have to tell you what Bitcoin is. You decide what it is. You decide which code you want to run, which software you want to run. So math to evaluate identical blocks and coming to identical conclusion about which blockchain is valid, right? So the shared agreement called consensus allows people like you to only accept valid bitcoins, enforcing bitcoin's rules against even the most powerful miners. In addition to improving bitcoin's decentralization, bitcoin core users get better security for their bitcoin privacy features not available in other wallets, user interface, and other powerful features. You could download the Bitcoin Core on your laptop. Uh, you can run your own node on your laptop. Yes, it's gonna make your laptop slower because it has a lot of memory, but if you have an old laptop, you can do so. But just get a if you don't just get a Raspberry Pi, get a stick disk drive and just store it there and just connect it, and you can run it over Tor, right? And you can visualize this interface. You can use Umbo or MyNode. Amazing. Yes. What else? For this series, yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this. I think that's everything I had to say. Yeah, this all over there talk about what is a full node. Just basically when you download all the Bitcoin blockchain, it's gonna take time when you download it. Okay, so you just go and download it. I think it took me like a few weeks for mine to fully download the blockchain. Um, yeah, and over here I wanted forget about talking tell it to you guys. No, this is the blocks every 10 minutes you have these blocks. This 10 minutes in average. Okay, because Bitcoin time chain is probabilistic. So um, yeah, and then you have this. Oh, this is the who find the next block. This is the Binance pool. So yeah, it's really up to you guys to check it out. Just educate yourself and learn and learn and learn. Um, this is the mempool of a year. There's so many good information out there. This is why I'm doing this series for you guys to learn, educate yourself. So as I'm learning as well. So don't get distracted by the noise and crypto scams out there. Um, and don't get distracted by the price, right? So if you really focus, you're really serious about Bitcoin, you should be able to do that for yourself. And if you like this kind of educations, you could just lightning tape me, just like going in this, and then just use this as you know invoice, and then create and then just lightning tape. One side is enough for me. Um, it depends on how much value you find. And you could use like Fountain as well. You could use, like Albi. And this is a address. This is a Lightning. This is from Satoshi wallet. You could use that and just send me some sats. It'll be wonderful as well. I most appreciate it. Yes, and this series will be there. You could just listen and watch all of them. And yes, guys, I'll see you again in the next video. This was Bike Over. Thank you for watching.